Hello, welcome to June 27th, 2023. My name is Kurt, and this is my daily Good Life meditation. I do this exercise each and every morning, a little bit after waking up. It's now 4:48 a.m. I do this in order to remember my life objectives and principles, those which are outlined in my book, Going Alone, available from my social media posts and YouTube videos, also at goingalone.org or from Amazon. I also use this time to think about the last 24 hours and how I did with the challenges and opportunities that I met. And I finish by planning for the coming day and forecasting more challenges and opportunities that I might anticipate, and also preparing myself, readying myself for the unexpected. But first, let's open with a poem. So I'm going to read from John Keats. I'm reading in chronological order the poems that he wrote in the course of his life. So this is a very early one. It's called On the Story of Rimini. Rimini being a story written by, I think it's a poem actually, I haven't read it yet, but it's written by Leigh Hunt, and it was published just a year before this book was published. So this poem was written right before the book went to publication, or not this book, Keats' very first book of poetry was written. So this must have been somewhere within this, he must have been closing on the end by the time he wrote this. Rimini is, like I said, in 1816, and it's the story of Paolo and Francesca in hell. It's a sympathetic portrayal of a pair of Italian lovers, and it's designed to invoke the sympathies of humanity. Let's read. I'll stop and interject a little bit where there's bits that I think need explaining. At least what I do is I mark up the bits that I needed to look up, and then I'll reference those as I go to help out. On the Story of Rimini. Who loves to peer up at the morning sun, with half-shut eyes and comfortable cheek? Let him, with this sweet tale, full often seek for meadows where the little rivers run. Who loves to linger with that brightest one of heaven, Hesperus, Venus? Let him lowly speak these numbers to the night and starlight meek. Or moon, if that her hunting be begun. So the new moon just dawning into a new crescent. He who knows these delights and too is prone to moralize upon a smile or tear, will find at once a region of his own, a bower, a shady place in the woods, for his spirit, and will steer to alleys where the fir tree drops its cone, where robins hop and fallen leaves are sere. That word sere, different from like a seared steak, but this word is, I had to look it up. This is a meaning where the leaves are drying and withering. Very nice. And I think I'm getting from that he's referring to those that might read the story of Rimini. Again, one that should be touching to those that have a sensitive inclination towards humanity, might want to be thought of or seek after those moments, such as the witnessing of the Venus in the evening, the moon coming into its new own, and after the new moon is complete, or be looking for a peaceful spot, a shady glen in a woods where fir trees drop their cone and robins hop and fallen leaves are sere. Very nice. All right, let's get started. First, last night and yesterday. Slept great last night. Man, I slept real good. I think I know why this little dog, Rudy, he's been having a hard time sleeping at night, but he slept well last night. He's been having a hard time sleeping at night because the neighbors next door are a little bit loud and he can hear them through the wall. But they tend to go to sleep, quiet down when their little boy, who's like 5-6 years old, goes to bed. So that's around, his bedtime is around 9:30. My bedtime is around 8:30. So maybe what I need to do is try to stay up until 9:30. Adjust the clock a little bit. compensate with the old man's capability to sleep less, maybe force myself awake, so that I'm going to bed after he goes to bed and the household next door is quiet. But I slept good. Woke up maybe one time before the alarm, but it wasn't anxiety-ridden. And I have no reason for that right now. It was just to wake up for a second and have peaceful thoughts, peaceful nothing, peaceful mutterings and putterings of the mind. As for yesterday, really good day yesterday, good solid day of work. I grabbed the bull by the horns. One piece of work that I saw that was a bit of a challenge. This is again anticipating opportunity. I saw an opportunity to do some work, that nobody was stepping forward to do, that I knew that if I did it, I could lay an important course for a new project. It's a continuation of my current project, maybe my last project. And I did it. And I'll meet with a team today and hopefully go over that. It was a good day. That's partially why I slept so good too. I had a good day of work. Good swim out in the sea. It was a rough time out in the sea. The waves were chopping, and every time I went under, I came up to go under a big wave. I was swimming in the waves. And every time I would come up, I would blast smacked in the head with another wave. Interesting. It was an interesting. I'd never quite had a swim like that. Anything else? Nothing in particular. Let's get on with a good life. My 7 objectives are: 1, to be always ready to die, to have my life in good, steady state, my relationships in order, my affairs in order, and my life's purpose complete. And they are. 2, to make good and effective use of my time, to not waste my time. I haven't done this in a long time, to spell out the details. 3, to develop and maintain good and sound life principles, to to work hard on the principles that I have to maintain them, like a beautiful garden, watering and tending them daily, and also as well as the objectives that I have. All of these are outlined in my book. Pardon me. 4, to cultivate good emotional reactions, to become a man who reacts well to the world. 5, to perform good actions, just to do good things throughout the day. Little things, medium things, big things too. Next, number 6 is to recognize my true limits and my true opportunities, so that I'm not demanding to myself things that I cannot achieve, or reaching myself too further than my grasp can reach, but staying within my scope of control, yet recognizing where I can push the boundaries and what effort it takes to maybe get me there. And then finally, to do just one thing at a time, and do that thing slowly and deliberately and carefully, just like I'm doing right now. Now, let's do my 34 principles. War. The principle of war suggests I should be always fighting against things that I think are true and things that are proposed to me that I should onboard as true. The second principle is reason, which is the instrument that I use in that war. And the sub-principles of reason are honesty, objectivity, doubt, and humiliation. Being honest with myself and others, objective in my view, a fierce skeptic, and ready to accept the humiliation of discovering I'm wrong, which really isn't much of a humiliation when you arm yourself accordingly. It's more of a gratitude. 3, the third principle is, boy, it's been so long I don't really remember. Homunculus, right? Maybe I should use the book to help me. I will use the book as a bit of a, well, I want to see how good I can do. I'll grab the book if I need to. All of these things are listed in the book. The homunculus is just the name that I give to the little man who lives inside my head, my consciousness, because I don't think that we have a soul. So I want to remember that what I do have, my consciousness, is trapped within me and will die with me. Oblivion awaits. 4 is the anchor hold. I kind of combined it, didn't I? The anchor hold is the suggestion that the homunculus is trapped. There's no exit. The anchor hold is the space within the brain where My consciousness seemingly resides. Well, seemingly, I'm sure that's the word is. Okay, next is, this seems to be the nexus and seat of the senses. Then comes purpose, number 5. My purpose are to be a good father and husband, number 1. To be a virtuous man, where virtue is defined as seeking after the improvement of the well-being of thinking creatures. And my third purpose is whatever personal aim I want to do for life. For me, at this point, I've raised my kid, almost done with that. She's still got a little 1 year of college to go, but almost done. The book is, the virtuous part, and that's an ongoing project that I have to do for the rest of my life. So that's in process. And number 3, the purpose of my personal purpose of my life is the sharing of my story of going alone. Next comes the atomic principle. Everything is made of bits and pieces. All of it is falling to pieces and being reconstituted into new pieces. Then comes, after atomic principle, is the principle of nature. Everything and everyone has some particular nature, and it's good to recognize what that is. After nature comes the pirate ride, is that it? Yeah. Or atomic principle, nature, maturity. I need the book. So there's a chapter in here called The Good Life, which recounts all this stuff. Here it is. Yeah, the pirate ride is next. The pirate ride is just my simple suggestion that free will is an illusion. It doesn't really exist. We are bound by the inertia of the universe around us, although we seem to be making our choices. Next comes the principle of maturity. Maturity is that state that we can arrive at when we are, the sub-principles are wisdom, fortitude, and integrity? No, yeah. Wisdom, fortitude, and integrity. I got them right. Wisdom is that experience, is the benefit of the experience that we have of successes and failures in our life. Fortitude is our strength and perseverance to do better. And integrity is the resulting balance where our life result is in alignment with our experience and our better endeavors. Our better standard of living and our way of living are in alignment as a result of our effort, fortitude effort. Okay, the next one is, I kind of peeked, but I didn't see it. The principle of social principle, I think. Yeah. Social principles suggest that we need each other, and our best ends are social ends, as I like to say over and over. The sub-principles here are diplomacy, justice, and conspiracy. Diplomacy is what we do to work together to decide what our common ends are, societal ends, or social ends. Justice is the end that we seek. And conspiracy is when we link arms to do that better bidding. After the social principle comes the principle of family and the sub-principle of catalyst. Is that right? Yes. Family is, of course, the nucleus that we create in our lives for our better social living. Catalyst is the resulting, is what that yields in many ways. It yields in many, many things. It's a really good thing to have a family. And it doesn't have to be, it can be the type of family you put a ring on or base on that, or it could be the type that just simply a collection of friends. It doesn't necessarily require children, but it's a good thing if you can. Catalyst, the necessity of raising your kids and of fulfilling your obligations, is a catalyst towards being better. Next comes public speaking and the sub-principles. There's several sub-principles for this one. Public speaking has the sub-principles of eloquence, best words, literature, rumor and gossip. I think there's 8. felicity, prudence, and there's one more, I think. Let's see. Best words, prudence, felicity, eloquence, literature, rumor, and gossip. I got them. I got them all. What do you know? Okay, public best words is the cultivation of a rich and deep vocabulary and then using that vocabulary well. Prudence is the ability to filter our communications through our values so that what we say and write is in alignment with what we believe is the best living. Felicity is seasoning our communication with our emotion just enough, not too much, not too little. Eloquence. I did forget one. I didn't include eloquence, I don't think. How did I miss that? Eloquence is maybe I did say it. Eloquence is the ability to communicate beautifully, written or verbal. And that comes of watching and modeling. Not that kind of modeling, you know. Literature is the foundation for most of this. Reading deeply and well. And then rumor and gossip. Try to avoid those things, they're nasty. Okay, after the principle of public speaking, the next principle is temperance, I think. Temperance? Yeah, temperance. Temperance is our ability to control our consumption, and the sub-principles here are suffering, simplicity, and apathy, right? Yeah, suffering because we suffer when we tell ourselves no. Simplicity because a simple life is a temperate life, and apathy, which is our ability to disconnect from the things that are beyond our reach. I had a moment where I had to be kind of apathetic yesterday. There was a strange moment where I was walking the dogs with my wife. I was leading the black dog. I was very tired. It was a hard end of the day, and I came to a busy intersection, four-way stop, but always busy there. People run that stop sign regularly. We had almost been run over 3 times. Anyway, it came to a corner, and I hadn't quite decided which way we were going to go because I was waiting for the dog to decide. There was a car waiting and a man inside, and I caught him out the periphery of my vision. Then when I finally turned and caught his eye, I realized he was waiting for us to go. And just then the dog had decided to go a different way. And I pointed at the way we were going to go, and he was visibly upset. And I had to imply I felt bad. I felt bad because he had been waiting, and I hadn't engaged him. I had ignored it because the dog hadn't decided. I didn't know where I was going to go. And it was too soon. He was gone. And then I had to apply apathy to realize that was a little bit beyond my control. I was off my game. Wasn't quite, sharp enough to realize he'd been waiting. Otherwise, I would have acknowledged him sooner and waved him through politely and kindly and with gratitude. It was like a sudden downpour. It just caught me all of a sudden. There's no use railing against heaven. Just have to accept that it happened and apply apathy to the emotion that arises and try to do better in the future. Okay, the next one. I knew this one. Life will not go well, and it won't. It's going to be tough, like that thing I just said, and tougher still. Any sub-principles here? None. Next principle is the horror show. Speaking of getting tougher still, life will be very bad. Horror is coming. The horror is here for my next door neighbor in spades. And I'm reaching out to her in the neighborly way, offering a smile and someone to talk to once in a while. And I add that principle so I can remember that, to keep in mind that the horror is coming for all of us, if it's not already here. The next principle is called that which must be borne, carried, borne, worn, bared. And what we have to bear is the fact of the horror show, and that which will not go well. The next one is, without looking, the Feast of Woeful. Yeah, the banquet of our suffering. The Feast of Woeful is a strange sounding term that I use to describe what happens when we get upset and we release that upset in the presence of our family and our friends. It's not a good thing. It soils others, and others may do it around us, and it's a good thing to try to avoid consuming that. It soils all around, spreads the negative emotion and energy that comes out. Okay, now after that, I just barely looked at distraction? Yeah, it's distraction followed by agency and the great indifference. That's a twofer. Yeah. Distraction and agency and the great indifference speak to my idea that God doesn't exist. And so that's the whole idea of going alone, is to go deep alone into the wilderness, witness a universe without God, and then try to reconcile what you're going to do with that to make a good life in spite of that fact. Distraction is what we do when we don't want to face that down. And we keep ourselves distracted all our live long days with all kinds of things. Our work and our play and our school and our gossip and our TV and our radio and our politics and our church and our religion and our God and all the other stuff. We can distract ourselves all the way to the end of life, so we don't have to face the fact that we're alone and that it's all on our shoulders to figure this out. Well, with the help of our family and our society and our friends, of course. But we own the responsibility of doing the due diligence and carrying the responsibility of decisions about what is important. Next comes the best seat in the house, to be all right with who I am and where I am and what I'm doing, all the while striving to be better. After that comes the restless man, I think. Yeah, the restless man is that sensation that we have in our late teens, early 20s that can carry on all of our lives, that we want something more, we want some adventure. If we go upon it, we step upon the path of wildness, which is a segue to a new life, to an adventure that we're going to have, which I call the Great Life Adventure, which becomes a part of our story, if not the centerpiece. Those three go together: the restless man, the path of wildness, the Great Life Adventure. After the Great Life Adventure comes the risk of avoiding risk. This principle suggests that there's the deep level and the surface level risks of life. The surface level risks are, hold on, am I saying this right? The risk of avoiding risk, maybe that's not right. There are surface level and deep risks. The surface level risk is missing out on the safety and security of following the path that's laid out by society, of education and career and home and family and school and all that stuff. The deep risk is to not address the want and the desire within for an adventure. It's a difficult thing to balance and reconcile those in the course of a single life, which is the only chance you get. Sin and damnation is next. Now this is where I think there's several of these. The sins that I identify, and these are not sins against any God, because I don't believe in God. These are sins against better living, and these include falsity, credulity, faith, superstition, dogma, authority. Falsity, credulity, faith, superstition, dogma, authority. Rumor and gossip, is that it? Is authority in? Yeah, authority is in there. Falsity is being untrue. Credulity is believing things too readily. Faith is nonsense because it's just a referential belief where the fact of the belief is used as the foundation for the belief. What nonsense. Dogma is belief based on tradition, and authority is belief based on the appeal to someone who impresses us with their grandeur or their charisma or their eloquence, or their seat or office, or funny hat. And then rumor and gossip are just nasty things in their own right. The consequence of these things, the damnation part, is the damnation in the here and now, living a damned life because being a sinful person in these capacities. Complete oblivion is next. After life, there's nothing to follow. We won't see our loved ones again because there's no soul to live on after our death. We won't have a chance to reconcile our differences with them because we won't see them again. And there won't be any final justice because there's nothing to follow in terms of our who we are after death is done, after we die. The season of philosophy is next. It's a time to follow. It's a time that comes when words begin to speak to us, when the muse begins to speak to us, or poetry and art comes through. The things that Keats was referring to earlier in that poem. We better be ready. Keep a pen and paper handy. Next comes script writing. Is the ability to forecast our hours and minutes, hours and days ahead. The bullseye aim is a remembrance that we might shoot for a particular mark, but we're not likely to hit it. I gotta go fast now. I can feel the dog is being a little restless. He's not going to give me a chance to type very much. The uphill climb is the endeavor that we make towards finishing the day higher than we were today. Not that type of high, but a better, more expansive view of the world. And I already did by virtue of the fact of studying a single Keats poem. So I'm going to finish today higher than I was yesterday. Arena and utility. Life is an arena for the execution of our of utilization of our principles in search of in pursuit of our objectives over the course of the day. The principle of fun is simply a reminder to have a good time, to enjoy the remembrance of the good times of yesterday and the anticipation of the good times to come tomorrow, and to planning of those. And then finally, the last one. Well, that's it. No, the principle of fun, that's it. All done. It's the first time in a long time since I've done the whole thing. Now, to wrap things up, let's forecast the day ahead. It's a Tuesday. I have a good solid day of work ahead of me. I've already done a lot of preparation from the work yesterday. I'm going to do my normal thing, wait for that meeting, hopefully then to validate what I've laid out as the plan for the next, basically, 2 years, which is half a year longer than I'll be around. This might be the last project plan for my career. That'll be interesting. And when that's done, well, then I'll enjoy the nice walks with my wife, one at lunch, one after dinner. I'll go to the beach, go for a swim, and be ready for any ambush things that happen along the way. That's it. Wish you all the best. Be safe, but not too safe. And with that, my life is done, if not finished. See ya.